let's just take a moment and think about your brain. I mean, it's the command center for your entire life, right? It holds every memory, every skill, the face of your first love. I mean, it's literally everything you are. But once we get past 50, a lot of us start to notice little glitches. We've all been there. You walk into the kitchen with a real sense of purpose. You stop and you have no idea what you came in for. Or you're telling a story and the perfect word is right there, right on the tip of your tongue, but it's just gone. Or, and this is a classic, you've misplaced your keys for the third time this week. Sound familiar? And yeah, we laugh about it, call them senior moments, but if we're being honest, deep down, there's this little whisper of fear. Is this just normal? Is this just part of getting older, or is it the start of something we're all afraid of, like dementia or Alzheimer's? It's a heavy question for sure. But today, we're going to replace that fear with a really clear, actionable plan. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to figure out what your brain actually runs on, its true fuel. Then, the main event, the top 5 foods that can seriously boost your brain. We'll also call out the #1 enemy hiding in your kitchen, and then we'll wrap it all up with a simple weekly plan you can start like tomorrow. Okay, so let's kind of reframe this whole problem. What if those memory slips, that brain fog, what if it isn't a sign that your brain is just falling apart? What if it's actually a fuel problem? Let's talk about what your brain really needs to fire on all cylinders. Now, this is pretty wild. Your brain only makes up about 2% of your body weight, but it burns through a whopping 20% of your daily calories. It's like a high-performance sports car. And you can't put cheap, low-grade fuel in a Ferrari and expect it to perform, right? It's just going to sputter and stall. Well, your brain is no different. And this really gets to the heart of it. That feeling of brain fog, that forgetfulness, it might not be permanent damage at all. It could just be a distress signal, your brain's engine light coming on, telling you it's literally starving for the right kind of nutrients. And the best part, we are in total control of the fuel we give it. And look, there's some really hopeful science to back this all up. It's a concept called neuroplasticity. This is the scientifically proven fact that your brain can grow new cells, form new connections, and basically rewire itself at any age. Yes, that means after 50, 60, even 70 and beyond. You absolutely can improve how your brain works. You just have to give it the right building blocks. So what is this premium fuel we're talking about? Let's get right into it. These are the top 5 foods for your brain proven by science to help you stay sharp. First on our list, and you could argue it's the most important, is fatty fish. Now, this might surprise you, but your brain is actually the fattiest organ in your whole body. We're talking about 60% fat. But here's the thing. It is incredibly picky about the kind of fat it needs. The super fat it craves is an omega-3 called DHA. DHA is what your brain uses to build gray matter. That's the stuff that handles memory and decision-making. Study after study shows that people who eat fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, or sardines on the regular have more gray matter. They also have a much lower risk of Alzheimer's. So if your diet is mostly lean stuff like chicken, you're probably missing out on this essential brain fuel. I absolutely love this way of thinking about it. DHA is like the rubber insulation around an electrical wire. When that insulation is healthy and thick, the electrical signal just zips right through. It's fast, it's clear. But if that insulation starts to wear down because you're not getting enough DHA, that signal gets slow, it gets fuzzy, and that right there is brain fog. Okay, let's move on to our second superfood. People often call these brain berries, and honestly, it's the perfect name. When it comes to memory, blueberries are in a league of their own. They're just a delicious, powerful tool for your brain. So how do they actually work? Well, blueberries are packed with antioxidants called anthocyanins. You can think of these as your brain's personal bodyguards. See, over time, our brains take damage from something called oxidative stress. A good way to think of it is like rust building up. The cool thing is, these compounds in blueberries actually cross into your brain and go straight to the memory center, protecting it from that age-related rust. There's even one study that found older adults who drank blueberry juice every day had major improvements in their memory. All right, let's talk about number 3, which is all about achieving a calm, clear focus. Now, a lot of us love our coffee, and that's totally fine. But green tea offers a unique benefit for the brain that coffee just doesn't have. The magic ingredient is an amino acid called L-theanine. What it does is it increases alpha waves in your brain, and those waves are linked to what scientists call relaxed alertness. It's that feeling of being completely focused, totally in the zone, but without any of the jitters or anxiety you can sometimes get from too much caffeine. It's just a clean, calm focus. Our fourth brain food is a spice you probably have sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now: turmeric. That bright, deep yellow spice that's in a lot of curries, well, it contains a compound that is nothing short of a miracle for the brain. And that compound is called curcumin. This is where it gets really incredible. One of the main physical signs of Alzheimer's disease is the buildup of these sticky protein clumps called amyloid plaques. They basically gum up the works and block communication between brain cells. Well, amazing research shows that curcumin can actually help your body clear these plaques out. It's also a powerhouse anti-inflammatory, which is huge, because we now know brain inflammation is a big cause of cognitive decline. But here's the crucial tip: your body can't absorb it well on its own. You have to eat it with a little black pepper and some healthy fat. And finally, number 5. Sometimes nature gives us these little clues, and this one couldn't be more obvious. A walnut looks exactly like a tiny little brain, right down to the left and right hemispheres. And as it turns out, it is the #1 nut for your brain's health. So what makes walnuts so special? Well, they're a great source of plant-based omega-3s, but they're also loaded with vitamin E. And just like those antioxidants in blueberries, vitamin E is a protector. It shields your delicate brain cell membranes from getting damaged. In fact, studies have directly linked eating just a handful of walnuts a day to better scores on memory and thinking tests. It's the perfect, simple snack swap. Okay, so we've covered 5 amazing foods to add to your diet, but what we take out can be just as important. So let's unmask the single biggest enemy to your memory, and it's probably hiding in plain sight in your kitchen right now. The enemy is sugar, and the connection here is absolutely startling. High blood sugar is a disaster for your brain. The link is so strong, in fact, that some leading researchers have actually started calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. And here's why. When your blood sugar is constantly high, your brain cells can become resistant to insulin. That means they can't get the glucose, their main energy source, that they need to work. Basically, insulin resistance starves your brain cells. So cutting way back on sugar is just as important as adding in these other great foods. Phew. Okay. We've gone through the science, the foods you should be eating, and the one big thing to avoid. So now, let's put it all together into a super simple, practical plan that you can actually start using this week. This is your Brain Power Plan. Look, this doesn't have to be hard. How about this? Plan for a fatty fish dinner 2 times this week. Maybe salmon on Tuesday, some sardines on Friday. Throw a scoop of blueberries into your oatmeal in the morning. When that 3 p.m. slump hits, grab a handful of walnuts instead of reaching for the cookies. Maybe swap that second cup of coffee for a nice calming cup of green tea. And just get in the habit of sprinkling a little turmeric and black pepper on your veggies or in your soup at dinner. See, it's all about making small, consistent changes. So if you take one thing away from all this, let it be this: your brain is not destined to just decline. It can grow, it can repair itself, and it can thrive at any age. But you have to give it the right fuel. Don't just settle for brain fog as your new normal. You have the power to feed your mind and change your future. So the question I'll leave you with is, looking at that list, what's the very first food you're going to add to your plate?